So for knee injuries, knee pain, or even sciatic pain, or just getting our body ready for movement in general, the most important area you want to target for warming up are the hips. Our hips, for the most part, are always weak relative to our body weight. We are not comfortable loading the hips. We are too lazy and the knee takes on most of the load. By loading, we mean both two things: by being able to coil the hips prior to extending them, as well as being able to extend with load that might be your body weight, forces of gravity, or added weight, or even all three at once. Hence why the ability to be able to bear load is so necessary. So here are 4 bodyweight glute loading exercises you need to master. This is for all you lifters, athletes, runners, and weekend warriors. Or if you just have bad knees, this is the place to start. Check out this first variation. So simply sit back on your heels slowly with control and then extend all the way out of it. Don't forget these very important arm movements that are aiding in rotation. The rotational factor is helping contract our posterior oblique sling or X fascial muscular system that works to help your body move and run. You want to get a nice glute contraction that connects to your opposite lat, pulling back. Make sure you hold and squeeze that elbow back, engaging some of your back muscles. That will help facilitate rotation. 7 to 10 reps is what I recommend. So in this next exercise, we target lateral stability, but we also start to really test the glutes and see how well they can handle your body's load, but in a regressed angle and in the frontal plane of motion. Our goal with these variations is to break down the different planes of movement and see how well your glutes can handle loading in each one before testing them to be able to handle load in the 3D world. Start in the side plank position on your forearm and bend both knees, placing the top leg behind the bottom one, which will stay on the floor as a platform. Pushing from your knee and shin, you are going to push your hips forward, up, and off the floor, extending them essentially. Bring that top knee forward as you finish, simulating a knee drive needed for a running technique. Lower the hip with control to the floor and feel yourself load in and out of the hip. The other arm can reach forward and back again, simulating the running pattern and also facilitating some rotation into the upper thorax. 7 to 10 reps recommended. It's a great exercise to work on your lateral line chain of muscles that help stabilize the pelvis in the frontal or side-to-side plane of motion. I honestly feel this is one of the most fundamental exercises everyone should be great at. As much as we glorify push-ups and squats as exercises, this actually serves so much more value to making the body stronger. Next, we move on to the most challenging variation, targeting unilateral or single-sided hip strength. In particular, this variation will really make you feel your hip's ability to load or coil under your body weight, which is why I value this variation a lot. Bending the knees into the 90-90 degree position, using one hand on the floor if needed, extend all the way up to the top of your knees and reach. Control those hips back down to the floor, which is the most important part of this exercise, especially if you don't have the strength to push up. Work on lowering down with control until you have the ability to push up. Use your hand initially. Don't forget those arm reaches, as they help facilitate that necessary rotation that we need in gait, walking, running, general human activities. So as you pull your elbow back, engaging some of your back muscles, that again helps activate our posterior oblique sling or X pattern, which is what helps make running efficient. So everything has its purpose. I like to do anywhere between 5 to 8 reps, all with a 3-second decline, because again, I can't emphasize how important it is to focus on lowering the hips down, allowing the glute muscle to elongate with control before contracting and extending back up again. On to this final variation, which will look almost like a single leg RDL exercise, but we're going to regress it and target different things, in particularly exploring the rotary aspects or transverse plane movements of the hip. Come up to a wall and lean into it with a locked out arm. With the inside leg working, you will reach back with the other leg. Fold at the hips, then extend to lock yourself out. If anything, reach towards the wall with the leg that kicks back, then you will feel that rotation. Why rotation? It is important to understand that when you are in movement, all three planes of motion are utilized to some degree based on their needs. Once there is a change of direction or some variable we didn't account for, some of these planes of motion will be used more than before. There's a saying, there's no bad movement, just movement you're not prepared for. And that's why we focus on these details. Again, we have some obliques working, some shoulder stabilizers in an upright position, but still regressed, making it easier to feel what we need to feel. 7 to 8 reps with this one, where you want to feel yourself load into your hip and come out of it. As with all of these, the mobility should come from your hip and foot, and that allows for the movement to happen. Give all these a try. Use one, if not all, for your warm-ups, and you'll gain some proficiency in moving through your hips. Remember, it's not the load that breaks you down, it's the load you're not prepared for. Leave me any comments for questions you might have, and don't forget to subscribe if you want more tutorials on how to prepare the body for action and life.